This episode of Comics for Fun and Profit is brought to you by Allocation. Comic book allocation. Now, we told you this is a pre-order business, and all you gotta do is just pre-order what you think you might want 3 months before you might want it. So, that guarantees you to get your comic book. Not so fast. We also want to do a little allocation. So although we tell you you have to pre-order to guarantee your copy, we're also not going to give you your copy anyway. We're going to decide if you are deserving of that copy. You see? Because, I don't know. We're Black Mask. We're the insert your publisher name here that likes to create scarcity and pump up the volume on specability of a comic. We know you bought issue 1 and 2, and we'll give you 4 and 5. Issue 3 is going to be a bit of a bear. We're going to allocate the crap out of that one. And you know what we'll do? We'll go to a second printing, but we're going to allocate the second printing too. So, yeah. So I would say order 15. We order 15 of those, and we might give you one, maybe. But don't get all excited. It's allocation, beyond our control. Sorry. For listening to Comics for Fun and Profit, this is Drew and Eric this week. Hello, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Glad to have you here. Thank you for filling in for Kyle on his month-long, what do they call it in Australia? Walkabout?
Yeah, it's a walkabout. I still think it's a witness protection thing.
Yeah, very much good. And I said, no, wait a minute. You're taking a month-long hiatus from me. What about your? Because he's got these RPG podcasts going
Right.
now where he's doing these tabletop games and such, and I'm like, you better be taking a little vacation from them as well. And he assures me those are in the can. So
Yeah, he probably took a week off ahead of taking his vacation so he could get those all in the can, leaving you just in the lurch.
yeah. In a month, he'll say, now I'm really taking the vacation.
Right. What we should
So
have
it's
done was found a way to get like on location reporting from him.
exactly. I want pictures with newspapers, that day's newspaper, from all your locations to prove where you are, sir.
Right.
Yeah, do not believe you. Now it's been has it been 6 months since you've been on? More?
At least. At
Maybe
least.
more? Maybe more than
It's
that?
it's still COVID time, right? So it could have been yesterday, it could have been 12 years ago.
That's true. That's true.
It's like
Sometime between 2020 and now was the last time you were on, I'm pretty sure.
correct.
So how's things going? Give us a Cowabunga update. What's happening up there in Economawalk, and tell us all about it.
Oh man, where to start? So I think the last time I was on, we had talked about kind of the hyperinflated market due to COVID
Mm-hmm.
and how the store had been faring throughout the shutdown. We had opened back up, if I'm remembering correctly, and we're kind of resuming standard hours. So in the time between then and now, uh, everything's continuing to go, I guess, business as usual. The gaming side of things has started to come back. We have D&D and Magic the Gathering going on. However, Pokemon USA is not sanctioning any events. And if you are caught holding certain events, you lose your, I guess, your right to sell their product. So
Because of social
Pokemon is not
distancing and
happening.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what their logic is behind it, but they said the calendar year of 2020. So we're assuming in 2023 they will be going back to normal gaming operations for them. But that's kind of just a wait and see. However, the other folks, Warhammer, they're all back. They're all doing well. And the pandemic, I think, was good in the gaming space because it kind of reinvigorated a little bit of that portion of the hobby. So we had kind of the true, you got your Friday Night Magic guys. We had kind of the true 6 or 7 guys at the store that were doing Warhammer, which for the city that we're in, 6 or 7 dedicated folks is actually pretty good. Um, but what the pandemic did, of course, is forced everybody, to stay inside or home or whatever, or limit their exposure. So, other hobbies were the norm. Table gaming came back, board gaming came back. And what we've got now is a group of roughly 20 Warhammer players that are coming every Sunday. It's not uncommon for us to have up to 6 matches going at any given time, or 6 games going at any given time, which is pretty cool for,
That
again, a
seems like
smaller store.
yeah, that seems like a lot. Economowalk's
It
not that
is.
big.
No, it's like 14,000 people.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, to have that level of dedication is pretty cool. Friday Night Magic has been going great. We've got 3 D&D campaigns going on right now. And so to support really all the gaming and to support the growth in the mail order business, we actually ended up picking up a second building on the same piece of property that we have the first building on. And it functions as kind of an auxiliary gaming space in one area, and then our warehouse space on the backside. So I don't set much foot in the main store anymore. I'm pretty much relegated to the warehouse and keeping things going there as much as we can, which is more than a full-time job given the state of the industry. So, but as far as business is booming. We're continuing
Does
to do very well there.
does all of
Shows are
Deep
back.
Discount run out of the new space?
Yes, yep.
Oh,
All of
okay.
all of the mail order, all deep discount stuff goes out of the new space. Um, yeah, so we kind of picked up and moved all of that operation over.
So you have
In
like a
fact,
cowabunga too.
we do. I mean, it's not. There's no sale operation out of it, and it's literally the building
Yet.
starts like 20 feet from where the other one ends. So we share the same parking lot. But yeah, so we've been doing really really good there. And the shows are back. So James just came back from Fan Expo in Chicago. Um, and there's some big industry shifts between what was Wizard World last year was bought out by Fan Expo and was Fan Expo this year.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
just in one year, we've seen some very big shifts in the market, and we have some pretty strong feelings as to what's going to come for the next year, two, maybe even three, just in the marketplace in general. So we can get into that too, I guess. But yeah, the industry is changing. We see it with distributors, as you've noticed through the FOC and the order forms. PRH is definitely becoming, Penguin Random House is becoming a bigger player in distribution now with getting IDW, and then you've got Lunar picking up folks like Scout, Vault, Oni. There's a real concerted effort now by the new distributors to kind of assert some sort of dominance. And what it seems like is Lunar's content to be DC and the small publishers, and Penguin Random House is going for those slightly larger publishers. So we've seen IDW. There's been scuttlebutt for over a year now that when Dark Horse's distribution contract expires with Diamond, that they would be moving to Penguin. The only one that we really hear that's kind of married to Diamond, so to speak, at this point is still Image. So we're not sure what's going on there, who's got pictures of what, but
But
um,
even when IDW left,
mhm.
they're still they're wholesaling to Diamond, right? Or are
Right.
they
So
doing dual distributorship?
no, so Diamond has an agreement with Penguin Random House to get both Marvel and IDW products. So they're able to do it, but they have like little to no margin on it.
What
It's
I
yeah,
what I don't understand is why. So that leaves only DC went the Cold War deal and just said we're going to Lunar and you can't have our stuff anymore.
right,
What?
right.
So what happened there? I mean, why? Like even the people that leave and it pisses Diamond off, you can see because IDW just gets kicked out of the premier publisher area and relegated to back in the back, right?
Hmm.
Uh, um, and obviously they're not happy about it, but they still carry their product. They still carry Marvel product. So why isn't there something with why can't they still carry DC product?
I I think that has to do with how the agreements with Lunar and UCS were set up when that all happened
Yeah.
initially. And my assumption is it was probably something that Lunar was insistent on, just to ensure that they got the bulk of the profit off of the distribution of it. Because with Penguin Random House, comics are very, 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 very small drop in the bucket compared to what their actual portfolio of distribution looks like. Their, their print material, their books, it's a global distribution network, and so to think that the American comic market is going to even, any sort of a difference in their worlds, it's more of a burden to them, I think, than anything else because they bought an entirely new warehouse for it. Their staff has to be trained differently. They have a different computerized system for it. So, if anything, Penguin Random House took on more of a burden with comics. Um, but that does make it a little more likely that they're not only are they here to stay, but they're here to win kind of mentality.
I see.
Um,
Yeah.
the difference between Penguin Random House and Diamond, there's some big differences and some similarities. So similarities would be the scope of business. So Diamond has multiple warehouses, had invested some large money into their Olive Branch location, and Penguin Random House, multiple locations, invested big money into their facility, um, and had the capital to do it. Just like Diamond had the capital to do it, Lunar starting a brand new business. There's some bigger challenges that they're overcoming. But the difference is that Penguin Random House doesn't really want to find itself in a state of warehousing. So in the book market, it's very common that books will get a printing, they'll sell through. They'll go back and get another printing, they'll sell through. And folks that, collect books know where to look on the indicia page for what printing it is. Um, but their mentality is, order it, bring it in, move it out. And of course, the book model allows for returnability and other factors which make it possible for booksellers to obtain more copies up front with less risk on the back end, which clears out the warehouse quicker. Diamond is in a weird quagmire of a state because when the pandemic hit, Jeppy came on and was talking about how the next evolution for Diamond was going to go beyond just distribution, but also be like kind of a warehouse of older comics, older stock that if stores needed it, they'd be able to get it. And how that vision was going to play out, we heard a couple of different ideas, but Penguin has no desire to be out there trying to retain, 50 years worth of comic inventory for us to order at a whim,
Oh
one
man.
copy at a go,
Can you
right?
imagine?
Oh my God, it would be a nightmare for them to handle. So it's a different business model, but publishers frankly, don't give a shit if the distributor has, 15 years of their back stock available. They simply don't care. Their job is to print it and get the paycheck from the distributor. So for many publishers, they really, honestly, it doesn't matter who services the contract as long as the books are gone. And in fact, they probably would prefer the Penguin method to the Diamond method because if there is extra stock in the Diamond warehouse, they have to pay a fee to have that stock sit there. So if you're a publisher and the distributor says, here's the deal, we're going to order X% over orders to cover for damages and shortages. We're going to blow this stuff out, get it out of here. As soon as it's gone, we don't want it back. We're not going to charge you anything to store it long. If it's there, you're going to have 6 months to blow it out. There isn't a Marvel product that's available in Penguin Random House that's more than 3 months old. It's gone. It's gone. Doesn't exist. So I think we're going to see some adjustments, and I wouldn't be shocked if what we see in the next, 3 to 5 years is a pivot, and you see Diamond become more of a My Comic Shop or a Mile High Comics sort of thing, but servicing comic stores where they're collecting in, back issues through whatever kind of means they're going to do it, and they're a hub for that. Maybe they end up buying out the excess stock of Penguin when a certain date has hit, or from Lunar. And we see Lunar and Penguin really being the juggernauts of distribution.
Well, I always got the sense that Lunar was just doing DC a favor. Like they had no desire to be a distributor, and they could barely do a mail order. And for them to take that on, it felt like they were like, "Oh, okay, we'll try it." And for them to have won out over UCS was a surprise to me, and the fact that it's still going on surprises me, and the fact that they have a very robust website that is well maintained, it surprises me. So I have been shocked at Lunar's success and the fact that they continue to add new publishers to their stable. So yeah, they have surprised me at every turn because it just felt like they were just okay, DC, we'll try it. We'll give it a shot. We don't know how to do this, but okay, and they've succeeded in spite of that.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely the first, I think it was a 6, 8, 10, 12, something like that month contract was really a we'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens. Um, it's just so funny that I don't know who pissed in the Cheerios, but for DC just to say, and we're not using Diamond anymore, and then couldn't find a distributor to actually do the work for them and had to go and create two was kind of
Yeah,
odd. Um,
right.
I think there was a significant amount of people that, at least at the time that there were two distributors, preferred UCS. Um, but my understanding from talking to someone who used to work for Midtown and UCS was that it was one of those things where they liked doing it and they certainly took pride in what they were doing and they had a robust customer base. But the difference being labor is a lot cheaper and property is a lot cheaper in Fort Wayne, Indiana than it is in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah,
Um, and so just the pure scope and volume of warehousing, what they felt was respectful to comic stores and necessary, from a backstock perspective, it just wasn't feasible for UCS from a cost perspective to do it. So, it was one of those things where a lot of us kind of lamented the loss of them. There's some unknowns out there. Like we don't know what kind of financial support Lunar received out of the gates from DC and maybe continues to receive. It is for sure that once they found out they were the only gig in town, they kind of doubled down and went all in on it, which is fine. That's certainly their well within their rights and their wheelhouse to do. Um, there are some limitations and frustrations with their website, but there are some limitations and frustrations with the Penguin Ram site, right, website. So, there's no perfect world. Hell, there's limitations and frustrations with Diamond's website. Uh,
right.
you
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things where it's kind of six of one, half a dozen to the other. Um, but yeah, the industry is really in a changing spot from a distribution perspective. Consistency of product is has never been lower. Um, just random stupid things happening. In the month of June, 3 out of 4 weeks, I was missing an entire box of 400 comics from Diamond. Just never even had a label printed, didn't get sent to us. Um, so that has happened with Lunar. We will get on Thursday. We will get the next week's comics, and then on Friday we'll get the week after that's comics. Kind of like okay, all right, and then we'll go 13 days without getting anything. Like, well, okay. Um, Penguin still has its issues with boxes and securing the product. Um,
Oh, I thought they
we do
fixed
our
that.
best. Well, kinda, but kinda
Yeah.
not. We do our best, and nothing's coming in great condition from any of the publishers, from any of the distributors. There was an entire 6 weeks of bad printing from Marvel's printer in Canada. They were oversaturating with ink and causing all the pages to be rippled. Lunar, DC, whoever it is, has this proclivity for this is the C cover on every order form, but when you get it, it's actually the E cover, changing UPCs and barcodes. I mean, it's cowboy country. Anything goes, and it's just a try and make shit work when you get it kind of thing.
Wow. What a
But you know
hassle.
what? It is what it is. And I always tell my guys, and I try and tell folks when they, email or message with issues. It's my I'm doing my best. My job is to try and take all the frustration away from you guys. However, sometimes we're just limited in what we can do and how quickly we can do it. Reorders take used to take about a week to get damaged or shorted items replaced. It's supposed to take no more than 2 weeks. Um, I got a box last week from Diamond that had 11 weeks of damages sporadically within it. So there's no rhyme or reason. There's no synchronicity with anything. It literally is cowboy country.
That's got yeah, that's got to be a hassle. I know some
It's
guys that
not
get weekly
easy.
shipments. Since I get a monthly shipment, I don't feel the pain as much as other people do, but I know some of the guys that get the weekly shipment from you, they're like, "Man, any they didn't get any Marvel this week, or they didn't get any
Yep.
DC this week," and it's just like, well, if you only get it once a month, you don't have to, that stuff evens out. You don't have to worry
Well,
about it.
yeah. Well, then you get stuff like Lunar DC. It's not Lunar. I shouldn't say Lunar. It's DC. Um, like they now all of a sudden like observe certain holidays like they are the most sacred moment ever. And, God forbid there be an FOC within 3 days of it, or that a product may drop on that day. Like it's just, but like
it
normal days where you'd think you'd avoid it, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, I don't know, who cares? Let it
yeah,
rip. It's just like, okay,
it is
can we
weird.
get some consistency here? Like,
That's definitely a new thing. I've
yeah,
noticed that they just take the whole FOC off now.
yeah,
They just
yeah.
don't want to deal with it. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, that's new.
It's fun times, man, fun times.
But yeah,
But
like you said, there is no consistency.
right, the only thing that's consistent is a lack of consistency.
Yes,
So, how about the
exactly.
market on the whole? Should we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw ICV2's big report that just showed just crushing numbers. Was it the first $2 billion year? Was that the number I saw?
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, I mean, just a massive, massive amount of growth everywhere, everywhere. Direct market, bookstores, digital, Kickstarters, everything's up, up, up. And is that what you're hearing, seeing on the ground?
Um, so yes, but I think it's really important to to qualify that and understand it. So yes, everything is up, but remember it's a lagging report, a lagging indicator that these numbers were compiled with,
Yep, that's true.
and it does not predict future success.
And yeah, it doesn't
Um,
nothing in 2022. That's just a 2021 metric that they're
correct.
discussing. Yeah.
And 2021 was the strongest year of comic sales that any of us have ever witnessed. Store owners, we've all talked. Con dealers, we've all talked. 2021 beat everything else. But there were some very significant reasons why. And for those astute comic investors who watch the market at a larger scale and monitor certain things over time, they're seeing that some of those books that skyrocketed to high prices beyond just your normal, flare up for the week or 2 or 3 weeks, um, some of those, you know, blue chip books that really jumped up are starting to come down a little bit. Um, Fan Expo this year versus the same show called Wizard World last year in Chicago. We did very well again, but about 30% less than what we did. Many of the larger dealers that came to Wizard World said that they were bringing the best con stock they've had in over a decade, and were saying that they had bad shows, terrible shows. Um, in fact, one guy said he had more people coming to sell him books than to buy books. And that is a market trend that we expect over the next
Oh, yep.
year to 3 to 5 years. Is we had, we rode high on this COVID dollar, where entertainment was limited, right? Concerts weren't happening, movie theaters really weren't putting out much, and you couldn't really spend your money in other ways. Plus, there was the stimulus money that was coming in and carried on for certain folks longer than others in other areas. And what you saw was just this glut of money entering the market to buy like never before. And when you've got money that people normally wouldn't have because they would have spent it on other forms of entertainment, and then additional free money on top of that that they would have never seen in their life, what do they care if they have to pay an extra $200 for something? It's free money. It's, they're getting something cool out of free money. But unfortunately, it all comes home to roost. And now what we're starting to see is that with kind of the funds stopping, we're seeing, the screws being tightened a little bit. I don't know what it's like in Ohio, but up in Wisconsin, if you want a job, it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to get one. And we're starting to see that, the free handouts are not exactly what they were before. There's a lot more strings attached. People having to go back to work or making cuts at home. So we're starting to see more collections come in. We're starting to see people call us and say, "Hey, I acquired all this stuff and I just need to get rid of it." Um, so I think we're going to be we've hit that apex and now we're starting to come back down. And unfortunately, the publishers, they take their data from the past and adjust to it. So we're getting, more 4.99 comics than ever before. We're getting new books coming out like crazy. And I can tell you from the ordering numbers that I'm getting that we still have strong orders, but they're certainly nothing like what they were last year.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to watch the market. Your blue chip comics are still going to be your blue chip comics. The Amazing Fantasy 15s, they're not really going down at all. Your Fantastic Four, 48, 49, 50, not going down. ASM 1, none of that stuff's dropping. So what what we're seeing in general is that kind of the mid-tier books, there's a little bit of a price correction, not too drastic. And then with the modern books, the keys still hold their value. Your Walking Deads, your Batman animated 12s, those keys are definitely still holding value strong. But we're starting to see some slip on some of the things that we're doing traditionally very well sustained. So like Something is Killing the Children, some of those earlier prints, those earlier issues, they're starting to drop a little bit. Part of that also is that the TV show or movie, whatever it was that was promised, hasn't come out yet. So there could be just a little bit of a lack of interest in it. But for a couple of years, those things were riding really high. You had a 9/8, Somebody's Killing the Children of the correct printing, and you were looking at almost a printing press of money. So we're just kind of seeing that. And the other thing that we're starting to see is that for those out there who are, DC collectors, um, I think coming up is going to be the time to be buying some DC keys because they as a publisher are waning. There's not a whole lot of buzz about a lot of stuff they're doing, and as a result, their back catalog of books are starting to go down a little bit and become a little bit more affordable. So for those out there that are, looking for some of those kind of mid-level key issues from maybe from the Bronze Age, even some of the Silver Age stuff, keep a keen eye on it. Now is probably going to be a time to start watching prices and maybe pick up a book in a grade or two higher than you had thought you had planned to purchase one in. Because, like I said, the interest in DC is a little bit down right now, and that's driving back issue prices down a bit.
So you're not talking about like the blue chips because nobody can really afford those, but you're talking about something like you know first Nightwing, maybe something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah, stuff like that. Even things like First Ra's al Ghul, um,
Yeah.
First Scarecrow, some of those kind of books, right on that cusp of kind of I would call them the upper end of the key, but not the premier key books. Like not your Detective 38 first. Robin. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Those aren't really going anywhere. But some of the
Triple
villains,
digits, not 4 digit books, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. And even some of those four-digit books may come down a little bit. It's when you get to the five, six, and seven-digit books that those aren't going anywhere.
Now, you've done an excellent job historically since you took over the store in managing ratio variance all the way up to 1 in 1,000s. Um, being able to leverage collectors that want those and pre-sell those so that you could bring those into the store time and time again to just an impressive level. Is that market still there? Are people still crazy for ratio variance, one in whatevers?
Really depends on the subject matter and the artist now. Uh, and that's another one of the struggle points that DC has. More recently, their ratio variants have underwhelmed. The Harley Quinn 30th anniversary has a 1 in 100 Adam Hughes foil and a 1 in 50 Archer foil. Those are getting huge amounts of interest right now, but it's a $10 book, so you're looking at a $300 or $400 1 in 100 ratio. Um, so it's a pretty price to get in. Um, Marvel, on the other hand, tends to do a little bit better job with their ratios as far as their artists. They go with a little more tried and true artists that have kind of cut their teeth on, and we've seen good strong orders from open to order ratios before they're moved into the higher ratio variant game. We do see it. We're not seeing it quite as much. They also haven't been doing like the 1 in 1,000s, 1 in 1,000s as frequently as they were. Um, but yeah, really, it really depends on subject matter and artists. So some of the ones that I know that we had done were the ASM 800, which had Delato, Artgerm, Inhyuk Lee. It had some great covers on it. We did the Moon Knight that had a 1 in 1,000. There's a Cap and an Avengers that both had 1 in 1,000s. And so we kind of, there's a couple we sat out. There was plenty that we got in on. And the market is still there if the artist is of quality, because the higher the ratio, the more limited the book. And we have a couple collectors who like that scarcity. But again, it has to be a quality artist.
Now, another thing that was pretty impressive was the sheer volume of Cowabunga exclusive covers that you were doing. Do you continue to churn these out at shop.cowabunga.com?
Yeah, so we have, let's see, we have slowed down a little bit for a couple of reasons. Most predominantly because there haven't been titles coming out that have really excited us to want to do an exclusive. Um, and we had some very fortuitous opportunities with artists. When Jenny Frison becomes available, we're not going to
Jump
say
on
no.
it. Yeah.
Right. When Ashley Witter becomes available, we're not going to say no. Um, when Adam Hughes has an opportunity for you to do a version of one of the covers that he's doing, you don't say no. So there were certain things where for us it was a no-brainer. There were certainly some pet projects along the way. We actually have two more exclusives that are coming out that are we'll tease it a little bit. So for those who follow our exclusives and saw that we did a facsimile reprint, I will just say that there will be maybe one or two more of those coming out very, very soon. Um,
Oh, okay.
so we've done very well with those very targeted books. I mean, there's other stores out there that are really into the variant game. Scorpion, Comics Elite. There's a lot of those guys that um, they just pump them out, pump them out, and that's great if that's what they want to do. But for us, there's a reason behind it. There's everything from the content to the artist to kind of the cohesiveness of what we've got going on. And for those that have been to our store, they know that we're more than just comics. We have all sorts of gaming, video games, you name it. But one of the things that we specialize in in our area is more of the horror genre stuff. Now, it's our whole store isn't, a horror store, but we carry a significant amount of books and statues and figures from the horror genre, and that really lent well to a lot of the stuff that we did with Valiant around Shadow Man. Cullen Bunn doing a very horror take on the character and the world fit nicely into everything else we were doing with some really amazing art by Jenny. It just couldn't have worked out better. And then coming out of that first Shadow Man run, we had an opportunity to do something completely cool. It was a pure indulgence for me, and that was our Andy Tom exclusive, which is the Shadow Man with Punk Mambo on the cover, as an homage to the Catwoman 55 by Adam Hughes, where she's holding up the prison placard. And it was a pure indulgence. I've always wanted to see an homage done with class. There is a Harley Quinn homage that I would not hang up in my house. The art is wonderfully done, but it's a little racy for me even. And Andy was willing to take on the challenge, and not only did he do an amazing job of it, he actually built in some really cool little twists. So he actually used photos of my wife to kind of be the body image for Punk, which was really cool. So he had her put on like a jacket and asked for certain head poses that I took pictures of her in, which was really cool. The placard, if you look at the number on it, it's not a prison number, it's actually our phone number. And we actually have had people call and go, huh, I didn't realize that was a phone number, but I thought I tried. That's pretty cool. Um, so,
Like the
yeah,
Catwoman that I called and got James.
right, right. So, yeah, it's fun stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have a couple more coming out. However, that's another one of those things in the industry. The exclusive market is really starting to slow down. And I think it's because of oversaturation. When we got into it, there was a decent amount of people doing it, but we still felt like we could stick out a little bit. We were doing, individual things with quality artists that even if maybe the title of the book wasn't, it wasn't Batman or Detective Comics or Spider-Man, the artist's name carried the weight. And really, that was what we were going for, was kind of the boutique piece by the artist. And with the saturation of the market, a lot of people getting into it, and frankly, with production ramping up at the publishers, artist time and availability is lower. And when we do an exclusive, we don't ever want them to be rush jobs. Like there's artists out there that can pound out a cover in a day, but do you really want that? That rush feeling. Like our Jenny covers take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks of her, kind of in and out as she's thinking about it, stepping away, coming back, asking for our thoughts if we have any. We generally, for her, don't. There's no thought. Just do what you want. Um, like when Ashley Witter was working on our covers, one of them, the Mina cover, the first appearance of Mina, which is just an absolutely beautiful image. I want it. I want it poster size. It's so cool. She ended up sketching out three different figures, three different style poses for us, and talked about what each one was. And so, like that was again 8 to 10 weeks of back and forth, and you know, we much prefer that, you know, as opposed to like with Bob Layton. There was a lot of emails back and forth with me on exactly how I wanted the cover to look because I had an image in my mind and I wanted to homage one of his other pieces without being too homagey. I didn't want to recreate it but make it close. And we had multiple weeks of that, and there's something about it that makes it a lot more comfortable when you're not trying to rush through it. So with artist time being short, with the saturation, we just kind of are taking a step back for the moment to say, what, let's let the market kind of figure itself out. And if a right opportunity creeps up, we're not going to say no to it. But don't expect to see, two or three a month coming out of us.
Yeah, a couple of times you did. You did some
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Yeah, it was awesome. Um, Now, deep discount. My beloved LCS. How does it continue to be going strong? Any kind of market adjustments there? How are you feeling about that business and going forward?
Yeah, so continues to go strong. It's an overwhelming amount of work in the best way possible. It's something that if I have spare time, in between work and working out and swim practice for my daughter and family dinner and everything like that, any free time is pretty much taken up by trying to keep up and advance with it. We've talked in the past about a website, and we're close. We're we're close. I'm not going to put a timeline on it, but there's a demo site that I've got some people hammering on, working on it, playing around with it, and trying it. So I cannot wait for that to show up. That will free up a lot of my time from busy work and allow me to get back to what I really enjoy, which is kind of more of the interacting with our customers and the publishers, and getting just more at the industry level as opposed to kind of the day in day out minutia and generating invoices and clicking here and clicking there. And I swear to God, I could teach a Microsoft Excel certification class at this point with everything I have to do. But I do have to call out a few things that I think it's important to know, and that is number one, without support of folks like you guys, you and Kyle, continuing to advocate for us and be there to, if someone has a question or is like, my LCS doesn't have this, you guys are Johnny on the spot to say, hey, check with Eric. He may not have it, but he'll let you know if he's got it. That really has been an instrumental piece in this, and I can't go without thanking John Mayo as well, for all of his help with developing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. The order form that gets generated it's all code that he wrote that does that. I work with him on the requirements and the changes, and let me tell you, with the new distributors and the changing games and rules that are happening, he stays on his toes and he's right there with me. And it takes people like you guys that really care about it to help, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I just love to be able to call it out and say thank you, because the business has been successful, and sure, we've put in a lot of hard work, but it really would have been for naught if not for you guys championing the cause and helping out, and even you coming up and doing your recording when we were at the old location, popping up for our world's smallest Comic Con, and hanging out in the
That was great.
blustery,
Yeah.
beautiful autumn that was a little cold for you. It's things like that that really do help, and it's special, right? It connects us at a deeper level, and that's what we really endeavor to be. We're not just a nameless, faceless LCS. I can proudly say that over half of the customers that I have from mail order, I know more than one or two facts about them and their life as I've gotten to communicate with them and know them, and that's special. That really is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. There's a tight knit group of us that are all deep discounters, man, and will be for life. So hope you still enjoy doing it well into your 80s.
and if not me, I will make sure that the operation is set up to succeed far into the future with whoever runs it. But yes, as of right now, I don't plan on going anywhere, and I do still enjoy
Eric Helwig bought 2000 that can pack boxes.
it. Yeah, if I could only clone myself.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, maybe not
Yeah,
great for my wife, but great for me.
yeah, exactly. Let's see. Anything else we need to touch on before we get into some of the hot comics going on in the world?
I don't know. Everyone who joined for fun and profit's probably going, okay, do they actually talk about fun and profit here?
Hey, man, the industries, I find it endlessly fascinating, and to be able to have somebody that's actually got a diamond account, got a lunar account, got a penguin account, running a shop, spun off a second business. It's pretty cool opportunity to be able to look peek behind the curtain and get a glimpse into what it's really like, because otherwise we're just spitting in the wind with our suppositions and our opinions, but we don't really have the knowledge that you have. So I think it's endlessly valuable. And if it's just a podcast for me, that's okay. It's my podcast.
It's your hill, it's your beans.
Exactly. So yeah. I love this sort of stuff. Wish we would
Oh,
get more numbers we could talk about. I'd love to be able to get sales numbers on a regular basis, but that's
yeah,
so fractured now and
yeah.
unreliable. I don't really trust any of them anymore.
No, and Disney doesn't allow anything out of the vault, so don't really count on getting Marvel numbers ever. Um, yeah, but I will say this: we should note this. While Kyle is out on walkabout, I will be back on in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yes.
So fair game. If anyone has questions for me in a couple weeks, get them to Drew.
Yep. You can get them to us on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Email's the best, comics for fun and profit at gmail.com. Make sure that I actually see it before the show starts and don't overlook it, which I often do. And that'd be the best way to do it. But yeah, we love, we will share those with you, as long as they're not too proprietary. I'm sure Eric will draw a line where he has to.
We try not to. Yeah, if you want to know like exactly what our sales were last year, we probably won't tell you that. Um, but yeah, no. If there's questions that people have, let's take the opportunity. We've got a couple of weeks heads up that folks can get them in, and of course, if there's questions at any time, even if I'm not slated to be guest or co-hosting, there's no reason why I can't pop on here and there for updates
Yeah,
and to answer
sure.
questions.
Yeah. I would always be glad to forward you questions. I do it all the time anyway on my own behalf. Our LCS is Cowabunga Comics out of Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and their mail order company, Deep Discount Comics. And we went there, and we were actually invoice number 00001. We were the very first their very first customer, which was kind of cool. They've been nothing short of fantastic, customer service wise. Discounts, they were very close, if not the same or better than DCBS on a lot of things. Over and
Mm-hmm.
above, customer service wise, always taking care of us, going the extra mile, so responsive, getting instantaneous responses back to questions about things, and to the point where knowing the stuff you like and anticipating your needs and having it suggested that you might want to add this to your order already, before you even have to think about it. That's kind of cool. Really quality experience. So we love working with Cowabunga and Deep Discount, and that's why they're in our show notes every single episode, and have been for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes. That we
Mm-hmm.
leave them there because we like them. They're cool, good people. That's why they're in there. By God, they'd tell you to, if you've got a local comic book shop that you love, stay with them, because everybody needs to support their local comic shops. But if you're looking, check them out. You can check them out in the show notes. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of them. Either get on their list, just so you can check and see what kind of FOC and pre-order stuff they have and the discounts, and they'll send it to you each month, get you on that email list. And you can check out their shop, because they have a great shop of exclusive Cowabunga
Mm-hmm.
variants. Amazing stuff. Yes, they've always been there for us, and we take them for granted. So there you go. Now you know. Let's slide over to Comic Book Invest and take a look at their Hot 10. Would you like to do the rundown, Eric, as the guest host, or would you like me to take that? It's up to you.
I can run down this. Do you want me to go from 10 to 1 or from 1 to 10?
I like to go from 1 to 10 because I have a
All
question
right.
about the first one right off the bat, and I got to get it off my chest.
All right. So the number one hottest book is not just a book. It's any 80s, 90s, and 2000s newsstand variants. Um, and it's interesting. We were talking about kind of my feel of the um, state of the industry. The first sentence here: there's such a downward trend on so many books, which is what we're seeing. I think it's exceptionally noteworthy that what's going on in the newsstand world. Even non-key newsies from the late 90s, early 2000s are doing exceptionally well in the secondary market. While this is a very wide range, there really isn't a single book this week that stands out as an absolute winner. So here we go, bring on the hate. Yeah, so the newsstand variants were significantly underprinted in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s and don't exist anymore today because newsstands don't exist. So even more so than just the rarity of the print is the in many cases the condition. Books that went to a direct market store were generally treated
Cared
with a little
for.
more
Yeah.
care because they
Yeah.
were being sold to collectors, whereas the newsstand was just in a twined up bale that got tossed on the curb and then put in the rack or whatever. So finding them in a high grade can be tough. There's certain books, your certain flagship books that are going to have decent print runs either way, whether it's newsstand or direct. And then there's some that very little newsstand print run because they were kind of a pocket book. Maybe it was towards the end of the run, things like that. So yeah, we're
So,
seeing that as well. Newsstand stuff definitely does well.
so if we're looking through our boxes of our collections, Joe collector at home, and we just need to flip through. Probably Big Two would be the most sought after. So Big Two books, popular superhero books with barcodes. Then that's all we need to look for. 80s and 90s and 2000s.
Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much what you're gonna jive with, but I think it's important to note that, of course, like everything, the the key is going to be the content and then scarcity. So yeah, so and yeah, you're going to have, and don't if you see a barcode with a line through it, that's a direct edition, not a newsstand in many cases. So
Oh, okay. So just a usable barcode denotes newsstand, and Big Two popular titles, your Spideys, your Batman, etc.
yeah,
X books.
yeah, there's some really good stuff, some good blog posts out there about investing in direct versus newsstand comics, identifying quality ones, and honestly, one of the easiest things to do is just go to eBay, search for newsstand, and then go to sold listings and just see what bubbles up. We had, was it 3 4 years ago, we had the real big flare up of DC Universe DC books, the ones that had the DC Universe logo where the barcode would be.
Yeah, it was just
Those
yeah.
just shot up. So
I
this
don't
is
get
kind
that
of in
either.
that same
That's
vein.
it's crazy. Why are those hot? Explain that to me.
Just a smaller print run, harder to get, and they were mostly in multi packs, so the condition on them again also usually not as good.
Oh, I got you. Okay. All right. Asked and answered. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Next up is Batman 125 Alex Ross San Diego Comic Con variant. This is
Gorgeous.
just, yep, one of those SDCC variants. It's which is interesting. Boy, we could talk about San Diego, couldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on there that's not going on now. A lot of publishers have pulled out. A lot of exhibitors have pulled out. Um,
Yeah, was Oni canceled, right?
Dark Horse canceled.
Yeah.
I know Graffiti backed out. A lot of the big con dealers have backed out.
Did Mile High?
Many,
Because he's been talking about it for years, not going.
yeah, I think he might have backed out.
Yeah.
And then I know like a lot of the toy companies have backed out. Um, Mattel's not there. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. All right. Number three, Man Goat and Bunny Man, Green Eggs and Blam, 1 in 10 variant. Dr. Seuss still hot, I guess, huh? 80 to $100 for one of these 1 in 10s.
Yeah.
If
I thought that was
Yeah.
gorgeous when I saw it, but I was like, oh, that's a played out parody homage, so that's not going to do anything. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swing
And
and a
I'm
miss.
I'm happy. I can't remember how long ago it was, but there was a it was a book from shoot, why am I blanking on it? The group that does Bell, Robin Hood, Zenoscope.
Yeah,
Wow. Whew, it's late.
that's this
There was
this
a
this
Zenoscope
same
book.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, that did. Yeah, it's right. Duh. Look at it. That had there was a picture of a girl on the front, kind of like behind a mushroom or something. It was an Alice in Wonderland type cover, and it was done by Ula Moss. And I was like, I think she's going to be a great artist to watch. And I'm just happy because even though Al Nuevo did the line work, Ula Moss did the coloring on this cover. So
yeah.
I'll take that as a small feather in my hat.
Like that
Uh,
Gorkin Demir guy that did a bunch of your
yep,
exclusives.
Gorkum Demir. Yep.
His stuff's pretty sweet too. I like it. I'm gonna keep my eye out for some of that too.
Yeah, and what's cool about him is he can kind of do a lot of different styles. Um, it's impressive. He's a
Yeah,
very, very impressive artist. All right, next up, number four, Betty and Veronica, Friends Forever Summer Surf Party number one.
missed
Some
this
new character
entirely.
appearances.
Yeah, new characters that. Yeah, I totally just I didn't. This would not have been on my radar at all.
Yep. Next up, number five, G.I. Joe 295, John Royal 1 and 10. This is something we've been seeing for a while, or not a while, but recently these 1 and 10s by John Royal are doing well. You can definitely, as they're saying here, you can see the J. Scott Campbell influence for sure. But yeah, they're doing really well, and this one is now 295. 1 and 10 is a $50 book. The one that we can't figure out is 8 Billion Genies. Um, uh, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. It's an image book.
It's
It's
really
been
good. It's a
it's
really
been
great concept, and it got optioned already. So I think
the,
there's a lot of excitement behind it.
we get that, but there are like bazillions of these out there. This is
Yeah.
not an underordered book.
Right.
So this
Well,
one
but
has us baffled.
that's the same thing for Something Is Killing the Children and Department of Truth. There were tons of those.
Not something that's killing the children. The first 5 to 6 issues of that were not very high ordered compared to Department of Truth, which came after,
Yeah.
and this one. And part of that's because Somebody's Killing Children is a boom book, and 8 Billion Genies and Department of Truth are image books. And
Yeah.
Image just
Yeah.
automatically has the clout, and people look for the image section. People don't always look for the boom section. So I hear it, but very different. So we're going to be interested to watch how this one goes.
And we also had the like Noctera and Geiger. Those both had their big spikes too.
Yep.
And they sold way more than 8 billion genies, I think.
The one that, well, the one that we're, I guess, long play a little bit more at the store, anyways, for a long play a little bit more interested in is watching Twig
Yeah.
by Scotty
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah. Kyle was on that one.
Yep. Number seven, The Mandalorian number one. Well, the A cover's doing well, $5 to $10. It's a $5 book, so I don't know what that's all about. There's just a lot of copies of this,
Yeah.
but there's an Adi Granov Virgin from San Diego, and the David Aja 1 and 25 is pretty cool, that's for sure. But
This was
this one,
the this one was last 2 weeks ago. Whatever the FOC was on this,
mhm.
uh, or maybe no, it might have been sneak peek. It might have been sneak peek. Kyle and I both picked it, just different covers. So I picked the movie cover, the TV or
Yeah, that was the 1 and 10, I think.
no, it wasn't at the time. It was independently
Oh
ordered.
no no, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. You got the
it,
Mandalorian TV show
yeah,
picture,
and
right?
then Kyle did the action figure. So because we're not allowed to pick the ratios as
Well, that's a self-imposed rule.
yeah,
I tend to
yes,
break that rule.
yes, that's true. Guess sometimes for two.
That's
They don't have to play by my rules. Just my brother
right.
does. So it's good to see that this has actually got some heat, a little bit anyway. So we'll see what those do in the coming
Yeah,
weeks.
I mean, at the very least, it was a very strong showing for a very strong, you know, pocket of the universe. The Mandalorian TV show, the Book of Fett. Um, that's probably the best Star Wars stuff that's come out recently. I think unified a lot of fans. Yeah, there's some good division in the movies, who liked what, but I think universally people love The Mandalorian.
Yes, and I was a big fan of Obi-Wan, but Kyle was giving me crap about it. I don't think he liked it as much as I did.
Maybe that's why he's on Walkabout.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
shame.
For his shame for not loving Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Number 8, Avengers 56, John Tyler Christopher. Um, yeah, so any of these seem to be selling in the $40 to $60 range. We've had people calling for them and sold out. We only had a couple of them, I think, show up. So they sold out pretty quick. Um, and it's Marvel, so damages happen with Penguin.
Yeah, I
Makes them
didn't
tough.
like this one. It looked like she had an extra finger on her other hand, so I was like, this is dumb. This is not that great, and I was wrong again. Again.
Number 9, Wolverine. Number 8 from 2013, the 1 in 30 variant. Yeah, back when we used to play those games, odd numbers. There are several of these 8-bit weight incentive variants out there. None of them are all that easy to find. I'd be picking them up if you see them on the cheap. Yeah, just again, scarce printing, and the 1 in 8 kind of 8-bit rate, or 1 in 30 8-bit ratio. There's a couple other 8-bit ratios, and those tend to do really well. Not necessarily $80 at least at the time, but generally in that $15 to $25 range.
Yeah, I was a fan of them when they were independently orderable, and I could pick the games that I remember playing, the
Hmm.
homages. Like, I don't know what game this is. I can't even tell. So I wouldn't pick this up. I wouldn't want this one. But like when they're doing like a Mega Man or a Metroid homage or something that I recognize, that's when that gets me excited. And I
Yeah.
think I did do ratios. I actually did do some of those ratios, like the 1 in 10 versions.
What's yeah, what's really interesting. Well, okay, let's do the last one. Then we'll do the honorable mentions, and then we'll do Eric's honorable mentions. Um, number 10, What If Siege number 1. Um, this is by Dave Wilkins and Dale Eaglesham, doing the art with Guggenheim and Stan Lee as the writers. It's a Doom cover. Doom is hot. People love the character, love the look. So Doom is a driver.
Yeah, what's that about?
Well, he's showing up in a lot more, central figure now in a lot of the some of the fringe Marvel books that are out there. He had a series that ended not that long ago, and
Yeah.
I think there's a big play for him to be a major part of the Marvel universe coming up.
So you think so? It's going to be MCU or
I'm thinking,
the Disney Plus?
I'm I'm thinking MCU, but either one are options.
Yeah, maybe we can get a Fantastic Four reboot for the 20th time.
Well, hey, how many times have we retold Batman's origin?
Yeah, or
Did you know that
Spidey.
his
Yeah,
parents were shot in an alley?
yeah. There's some pearls that
Yeah.
need to be clutched and fall on the ground.
And his mother's name is Martha too.
Yeah, crazy.
Anyways, honorable mentions: Marvel Voices, Comunidad's number 1, the Perez 1 in 50. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I
George
didn't know that
Perez.
existed. I didn't know that existed, but yeah, of course.
Yeah, George Perez. That was rough for me. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Yeah, yeah, he's great. He's great. Wonderful man too. Met him a couple of times. He's really cool.
yeah, special moment from one of your key contributors, Jason. Um, when George was at the
Yeah,
was it the Amazing Hawaii Comic Con?
yeah.
Aloha, I
He
can't
did the
remember what it was.
VIP package. He did the VIP
Yep.
package where you got to have dinner with him. I think.
And then he had said something about me and my love for Nightwing, his original design, and just George's work. And George had asked if I was there, and Jason's like, no, he lives in Wisconsin. And George actually did a little audio recording on Jason's phone that Jason texted to me, and
Oh, how nice.
I have that still. And um, when George made it to Chicago a couple years later, I stood in line and waited and had some things signed. And I said, you're not going to remember this, but you did an audio recording in Hawaii on a friend of mine's phone that he sent to me. He's like, "You're Eric." He's like, I didn't tell him who I was. Like 2 years later, he remembered who I was, and it was just, I'm so glad that we got to meet, and stood up and gave me a hug, and it's just
Yeah,
like, so just special, special guy.
yeah. I remember like it was like 2019 or something. So it was pre-COVID, and you know, hearty handshakes and hugs, and I was like, "This is amazing! Wow, he's a
Yeah,
legend." Yeah.
and yeah, just gave it all back to the people. It was what it was
Mm-hmm.
for. So,
Yep. Yep. He did.
um, then our other honorable mention is the Beyond 25. This book is from 1954 by Ace Magazine.
It is.
36 beautiful pages, 10 cent cover price, and a CGC 65 just went for 10 grand.
Yeah.
Um,
You have this? Have you had this in Cowabunga?
oh, at least 8 or 10 copies.
Wow.
No.
Wow. That's
One thing
amazing.
that we do have coming through is Pre-Code Horror, which is definitely hot right now. In fact, we have a nice little collection of Golden Age Whiz comics with Captain Marvel. We have the first appearance of Captain Marvel Jr. Um, so yeah, we get some Pre-Code Horror. We get Golden Age. It's all good.
I think you've had double digit amazing fantasy 15s come through
No
the doors.
AF-15s. We've had a number of Amazing Spider-Man ones. That's the
Was it
one that
okay?
keeps coming in. We're like,
Okay.
seriously?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've had a couple ASM 300s.
It wouldn't be an episode if you didn't talk about that. The $5,000 book that got away. Oh my goodness gracious. Now I think that one's come down a little bit. I think
It
that's
has come
coming.
down a little bit, but you should have taken me up when I had them for sale to you years
I
ago for
right,
just 500-600 bucks.
right. Yeah. There was another one that was coming down that.
That book just wants to bite you in the ass for the rest of your life, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and the fact that I sold my Werewolf by Night 32, a year or two before the goddamn series it got Moon Knight got his own series. I mean, I'm the world's biggest idiot. So let's celebrate that. As
Comics
often
for
as we
fun
can.
and not as much profit.
No, so comics just for fun now. The profit is just an occasional icing on the cake. Mostly
That's
fun.
great. So I was going to say that my honorable mention, something that we see doing actually consistently well. Marvel did a run of those hip hop covers,
Yeah,
maybe 3-4 years back,
yeah, those were
and there's a
awesome.
good chunk of those that are in that $15 to $40 range. So that's maybe a little bit of a freebie for those of you out there. Keep an eye. Subject matter is key. Musical artist at times is key, but yeah, there's some Miles Morales ones out there, some other Spidey ones, Black Panther, and those tend to do usually quite well. So if you see them in a cheap bin, don't be afraid to snag those.
And it's amazing the things that bubble up to me. Um, you just hold your shit because okay,
You don't ever sell anything.
eventually it's gonna get hot for some reason or another. It's just it blows my mind the things that spike and why they spike, and then they're hot for a while, and you're like, oh, that was quarter bin fodder, that was dollar bin fodder, and now look at it. You stay in this game long enough, man. You see it all, right?
Darn right.
Hey, it's the good folks at Comics for Fun and Profit reminding you that nobody Patreons like we Patreon. So join us at C4FAP and go over to Patreon/ComicsFunProfit and sign up at a level of your choosing. There's various tiers with various goodies for you. Something that everyone gets at any level is you get to be a part of our Slack channel community, and you get early and ad-free access to all our episodes. But wait, there's more. So go over to Patreon/ComicsFunProfit and check out all we have to offer. We urge you, sign up today. All right, let's take a look at the good folks at Deep Discount who sent us their FOC list.
Hey, who are those guys? They sound kind of nice.
Yeah, they are kind of nice. And their contact information is in the show notes. If you would like to be a part of Deep Discount and get this handy dandy spreadsheet, you can. It is the link is in the show notes. You can send Eric an email, eric@cowabungacomics.com, Eric with a C. And is that all I need to say?
That's good enough for now.
That gets you on the FOC list. That gets you on the pre-order list. So you get both sets of communication and special variant covers and exclusives as well. All right, Eric, this is what you're talking about. This well-curated spreadsheet, it has multiple types of codes from various types of distributors with
links galore.
Various price discounts that has to be interpreted and hyperlinked so that folks can take a look at them a little closer. And this is all done with, what does he use? Does he use Python? What kind of code does he work in?
So the FOC forms, this loving person on the other end of the line manually builds. The monthly order form is, yes, it's generated using Python.
Gotcha.
I don't even want to know how many hundreds of lines of Python code it takes.
Yeah, and
thank God I don't pay him by the line.
Yeah, occasionally it messes up, but not that often. Not that often.
You'll notice that there's more mess ups on the FOC because it's like either someone's rushing to get it out or it's late or whatever. And there was one maybe 3-4 weeks ago. All right, secret for everyone who gets this: if for some reason the hyperlinks don't work, if you highlight the column C and right click and go to unhide, you'll get columns A and B, which has the link and the item code. I screwed up the hyperlink somehow, and I had people like, the links aren't working, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's 2 columns over that you can't see, so my bad.
So you right click on column C.
Yep, you kind of like click drag to the left and then right click on column C and then you go to unhide.
Yeah, I don't have that capability. Well, yeah, you'll have to Microsoft Teams me sometime. Walk me through it. But anyway, the links work, so that's cool.
Yeah, the links are working on this one.
So we got Batman One Bad Day, the Riddler #1, a one-shot. What are your thoughts on the one-shots? We're noticing a lot more of these. I'm a bigger fan of them than Kyle is. Kyle hates them. I like the idea of doing one-shots versus like an anthology, you know? If you were going to do like a Batman and various villain anthology or whatever book, instead do these, right? I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, I guess. It just depends. Oftentimes it's a reason to up the price, and the one thing that bugs me is
That's true.
When they do it and they just grab a bunch of old content that's already been created and they slam it into something, and it's like, well, okay, you're just selling covers. Whatever. Get off my lawn, I guess.
Is that what this is? Is this old content?
No, this one's got some new stuff in it, but yeah, our orders are not usually all that strong for these. And I think it's mostly because of the price point. So
yeah, that is $8.
Yep.
How's Batgirl selling?
Batgirl's doing okay.
Okay.
Poison Ivy is definitely the better of the girl sellers.
For DC.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Batgirls is okay. And this is one of those cases where the 1 in 25s, a lot of people comment and say, like, if this was an open to order cover,
Yeah.
I'd sell a boatload of them. But as a 1 in 25, I can't sell a one.
Hey, that's how I feel. I hate them. I want
Yeah.
independently orderable. I know you like them. I hate them.
I mean, I'm down with ratios as long as the artist is there to support it.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an awful lot to spend for a single comic. Oh, we got a new Deceased starting up. We've got Deceased War of the Undead Gods. Is this going to be Tom's last hurrah? Tom Taylor's last hurrah in the Deceased world?
I don't know. I guess never say never. I mean, he's done doing the injustice stuff, but the
Yeah.
deceased world seems to be selling very, very well. We have a ton of customers who love them, and the this time, unfortunately, like there's usually a Matina open to order, and looks like this
Yeah,
one
it's
is going to
D.
be the body bag.
The cover
So
D is, right?
yeah, but I have a hunch that there's something inside it. But allocations may occur, which means allocations will occur, which means if you order 15 of them, you may only get five, depending on how many come in. Heads up for everyone.
The Matina or the.
The body bag one, the cover D.
Oh, sealed up.
Yep,
Gotcha. And that's independently orderable, but they're allocating that. Why you know
correct.
that's not. Is that because you got to order them so far in advance?
I think it's because the production time to make them, but
Yeah.
not like you have the opportunity to set the order date. Anyways,
Can't you just pre-order them earlier in the cycle?
they don't have any issue making us pre-order things later in the cycle. Why can't we order them earlier?
And yeah, Karen. Yeah, so back it up a month if that's what it takes to print the polybags,
Right?
so that you can guarantee that the numbers are going to be there. That makes me mad. Allocation
Hmm.
makes me really mad in a pre-order business.
I agree.
It's not fair.
Now we've got Harley Quinn 19, and I'm pretty sure that this was on last week's FOC as well. Call me crazy,
Yeah,
but
we always shout out
oh
to
no, got it. Sorry.
Derek Chu, but usually it could have been one that was in the sneak peek and not.
Harley Harley Quinn 18 was last week, and the only
Yeah,
reason that I remembered it
yeah,
was because the Ryan Sook homage for Harley Quinn 18 was a different Batman cover. This is obviously homaging the first appearance of Robin,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Those
and the
those have been
Derek
great.
Chu covers are always fantastic.
Yeah, those have been really really great. Tough to choose, but I do like the homage a lot.
Yeah, and then there's a 1 in 25 Jimbo box, which is kind of a manga style watercolor painted looking
And who is that?
interesting cover. I don't know, Jimbo box. Never met him.
That's the guy's name, you think?
Oh, that's what it says the artist name is. 1 in 25 Jimbo box.
I was thinking it might
Hard
be
sell.
that might
Yeah.
be like a style that'll be repeated throughout. Guess not.
Uh, no, it's capital J, capital B. Jimbo box, one word.
Well, yeah, the guy works at Cowabunga. His last name's Box, right?
He doesn't go by Jimbo.
No relation.
No relation. And yep.
I would be
But
remiss if I didn't look at the Nubia Queen of the Amazons swimsuit edition. Hello. Now, is this Sandman #1 special edition really 35 cents?
yeah, because this is one of those special, um, similar to how they do like the Batman Day,
Oh,
where
yeah,
they
yeah,
have
okay.
the, yeah.
Yep.
So that's what this is.
I always like
So we get
stuff
them
like
in
that.
bundles of 25.
Very nice.
Yep.
Got way behind on Superman, Son of Kal-El. I don't know what's going on. I'm like 4 issues behind on that one. Miss Meow, I skipped entirely. That's what is that? Merc Publishing? I'm not even familiar with that.
Yeah, Miss Meow has definitely done very well for us.
Let me take a look at the cover and I'll tell me what is it. Yep, there. Now I know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zenoscope Cheesecake's got nothing on that. No, no, no.
And I think the first issue had an Art Germ cover on it, which was
Yeah.
off the charts sales wise.
Scout gives us metalinguistic crimes division. I wonder what metalinguistic crimes are. Interesting. Sometimes when the words are too confusing and I don't understand them, that makes me not want to read a book, right?
Yeah, when you're too meta about being meta.
Yeah. You're a little too clever. Goodbye.
I want to enjoy, not think. Come on now.
A Vault's given us Heart Eyes. I love the cover. Love that art style. Is that Dennis Hopeless?
Yep, Dennis Hopeless writing, and then the
Nice.
cover B is Michael Dialinas. I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce it, but he worked a lot with James Tynan on The Woods and
Okay.
Cognetic, Memetic, and the other Etic.
And of course, Frizen's doing Frizen's doing her Frizen stuff.
Yep. Criminal that she makes a girl so peaceful and serene
Yeah.
that is being like covered by an octopus cephalopod.
Could have grabbed some of her original art at C2E2 pretty reasonably, and I didn't. I probably should have. She was right. She was sharing a table with Tim Seeley, and I bought Tim Seeley
Yep.
original art instead of hers. Mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the dreaded Amazing Fantasy 1000. It got me so angry several episodes ago. I just about I just about stroked out. I was so mad about the math that they used to get to 1000.
Ours is best to not question or try and figure it out. Just go with it.
Yeah. And also, Kyle and I think were equally angry that the facsimile for Amazing Spider-Man Annual was $8.
You got a
How
problem
dare?
with that?
Yeah, it
I don't.
seems a little high. Seems a little high for an 80-year-old annual, but that's just me.
Well, I can tell you, it's going to cost you more than $8 if you try and buy it today.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can't get the original.
No.
Yeah, in my head, facsimiles should not be over $4, no matter the page count. Now
I'll keep that in
this,
mind if I ever get into to the publishers and printing facsimiles. Drew
yeah,
says
okay.
they cannot be more than $4.99.
Yeah, stop this crap. Don't do this.
He will not buy them, and he will not advocate people buying them.
Now Daredevil 2 is actually Legacy. What is it? 600? Is that right?
Oh boy. Well, I believe it's 600.
So that would be why it's a $6 book.
Yes,
So they
that
so
sounds
they
correct.
they relaunched it so they can get a number one in and get a high price for a number one with tons of covers, and then that makes issue 2 fall on the Legacy 600, but so they can jack up the price and throw extra covers on it. Marvel's just like playing 3D chess with the shenanigans. They just are one step ahead, always milking us, gouging us one more dollar here, a couple more dollars there, and I just can't keep up. That's amazing. That's amazing math they did. Fantastic. Kudos, Marvel. You got me. Because
Sometimes you just
I,
gotta roll with it.
I was wondering. I was like, I wonder why they're really Why are they relaunching this Daredevil 1? I mean, it's the same team. Nothing's really changing. That's weird, right? Now it all makes sense. It all comes into focus. This is why.
Should have known there was an ulterior motive.
The answer to all your questions are money.
Well, naturally, follow the money.
Follow the money. Is this Slott doing the Edge of Spider-Verse?
This is...
Yeah, Slott.
Yeah, yep.
I think he's going to have fun with this last one. Should be some new characters.
Spider-Gwen, the new Spider UK mini Spidey, and get to know your antagonist for the huge story. Yeah.
Then we've got Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight, #1. Their little one-shot. I think should be fun. I did enjoy her series very much, so I think I'll get this. Will I get all 3? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is Moon Knight.
I know. I got a problem. I don't love the Momoko. I don't.
It's actually, as far as Momoko goes, as of late, I think that's probably one of the better ones I've seen.
Yeah. The Declan Shalvey's pretty nice. That's pretty tempting. But if I'm getting 2 of the 3, why not get all 3?
You gotta do the
You know?
trifecta.
Oh, why not? It's tough to have these conversations with the owner of the shop
with the guy that sells them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want that one.
Oh, yeah.
No
You gotta. You'd be a fool not to throw that in your cart. Images pop out at you here. We've got Deadliest Bouquet, Erica Schultz. Yes. Jason did a interview with her. Yeah, that's right.
And right underneath that, 8 billion genies.
Number 3 goes to second printing with number 4 first printing. Better get that.
Right? I've heard a thing or two about that book.
And Love Everlasting. So Tom
Has
King.
A really, really cool Jenny Frison cover. If you look at cover E, it is in the style of the old romance comics.
And you know what? That's a unique look from Jenny Frison. Because a lot of her stuff is very similar stylistically, but that's a different thing for her. I love that. Is it independently orderable?
It is.
It is. That's in the cart. That's in the cart. And so that's King and Elsa. What's her name?
Chartier.
Yeah. She did what? Something with. She didn't do Bitch Planet, did she? What did she do?
I
know her
feel
from
like
something. Yeah, it usually tells you, but it doesn't in this one. I don't know what. I know her from something.
Yeah, Love Everlasting. I know for sure.
Well, yeah.
I think. What else has she done? She's done. Department of Truth.
Okay.
She's done some work on that. There we go.
Yeah. So she has. Yeah, her style's reminiscent of. Who did work with Reminder in Deadly Class? Who's that? Can't think of that guy's name, but.
Man, my brain is.
I know, right?
Not on full throttle.
No biggie.
Wes Craig? Was it
Wes Craig? Yeah. She's got a little Wes Craig in her, I think. This Wind book from Boom. That's another volume, right? Wind was out before, and that's Tinian.
Yep. Tinian, yep.
Did Tinian do the first one?
Yes.
Okay. He's so prolific.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stuff going on.
I'm not sure what all he's been putting out on his Substack or whatever it is.
The Closet was the first one, I think.
Okay.
That they, I think Image is publishing for him.
Yeah.
The old Chuck Dixon doing a book for Antarctic Press called Unprepped about the preparing for the apocalypse, which I can relate to pretty well now. I need to get my bunker set up.
Get your canner up and running.
Oh man, I do not do well when like the power goes out. I had to get a generator. I just couldn't stand it. It was like I was out of power for like 6 hours. Nope, can't do it. Let's go. We've got
What else
Samurai
we got?
Doggy from Aftershock. This is Chris Text. I'm not familiar with him. I guess he had something called Blackout, and illustrated by Santos. Also, don't know his stuff, but I kind of like the look. Revenge Tale. It does have a Wando incentive cover. I'm a big fan of his.
And we got Archie and Friends Thrills and Chills #1. Are we going to get? We're going to have something special happen in Archie that we don't want to miss again.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see any new people on the cover, so that's what I missed last time. Just thought they were just randos jogging on the beach. But hey, hats off to Archie. $2.99 book.
Let's see.
Blade Runner from Titan. Rivers of London back from Titan. I did not check out the new Archer and Armstrong when Valiant released them. I was I really soured on Valiant when they just started. They just went off a cliff, man. I don't know what they were doing. I didn't understand their publishing schedule. They weren't publishing stuff regularly, and they were like start rotating their titles in and out with new #1s. Didn't make any sense to me, and I never went back.
Yeah, there's going to be some good stuff coming up. Archer and Armstrong is not one that really clicked with our customers, but a lot of the Cullen Bunn stuff has. And then there's going to be, I think Marguerite Bennett's going to be writing the series coming up. There's going to be a mature Bloodshot coming out. So there's going to be some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, they need Bloodshot back in.
Yeah,
Bloodshot needs to always be out.
I
Why
agree.
they ever put that on the shelf? I don't understand it.
I agree.
The Studio Ghibli complete works looks interesting. I need to watch some of the big ones. I never have. I know I missed out on them. Kyle's a big fan of his stuff. I didn't realize that there were 26 films in that studio. Wow.
Hmm.
I thought there was just a couple.
Yeah, we've watched a decent amount of them, and you know,
Spirited
a hand,
Away and
couple of different creators. Yeah, we tend more to the Miyazaki stuff than the Takahata, but um, like My Neighbor Totoro is a big one for us. Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke. Some of those are we like those.
that's not this guy. That's another.
It is. That's
Oh,
Hayao Miyazaki is one of the screenwriters and directors in Studio Ghibli.
okay. Do you have a Crunchyroll
Do not.
stream?
Probably should.
You probably should. You're a pretty big anime manga fan.
Yeah.
That's all I got, man. Lots of good stuff though.
Absolutely. I know what my pick is.
You do? You have it all
Oh
locked
yeah.
and loaded? You're ready to go?
Oh yeah. Fully locked and loaded.
Okay. Well,
Do you want to hear
sure.
it? um, I don't know as if it's going to necessarily blow up like crazy, but I think It's a beautiful cover, and I think it's different than the style like you called out. So I'm going to go with Tom King's Love Everlasting #1, but the Jenny Frison cover.
Okay, you bastard! You come on here and you steal my pick. That's that's no way to get invited back.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
That makes
Remember,
me.
you need me.
That's true. I'll go back to the Ms. Marvel Moon Knight #1, the Declan Shalvey, which I really like as well. So good stuff. All right, next up we're going to go over to Cover Price for their top 20. Would you like the top 10 or the bottom 10?
I will do the bottom.
To do the bottom 10, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in rarefied air then. I get to do the top 10. I don't usually get to do that. Fantastic. At number 10, Black Panther #3 from 2022. This is the Tosin appearance that has been hot for a long time that I missed out on. It sold 24 copies, fair market value around $56, and a 9.8 sold for $177. X-Men #1 from 1991. I'm guessing this is the one that sold 8 million copies.
Mm-hmm.
And the cover D, Magneto cover, sold 25 more copies. CGC 9.8 sold for $100 and a fair market value of $17. There's plenty of these. Plenty of these floating around.
But get yours now before they're all gone.
Exactly. Eric mentioned Doctor Doom Hot. This is the 2019 series, the first issue of that. Sold an additional 13 copies with a high sale of $140 and a fair market value of around $13. We've got at rank 7 the A-Force #1, 1 in 25, Stephanie Hans variant. This book is trending because of Thor: Love and Thunder, so take that as a spoiler if you will. High sale of $325 for a CGC 9.8. Fair market value of $154. That seems very high. Oh, it is a 125. Rank 6, we have Batman 125, the Jock Foil variant, which is a 1 in 50. Pretty good Zdarsky debut. I enjoyed it. I think I kind of liked the Catwoman backup a little better than his Batman, but you know, he did fine, and he's written Batman before, so I think Batman's in good hands with him. This sold 29 copies, high sale of $77 for a raw, fair market value of around $56. We don't really know what that means. It's just they just make up stuff. Another Batman 125. This is the failsafe design cover M. 38 copies sold, high sale of $21.99 for a raw copy, and a fair market value of around $16. At rank 4, we have 8 Billion Genies. The Bird City Trish Forstner Super Mario 3 homage, which was limited to 500 copies. I did dig this one when it came out. Sold 13 copies, and a new high sale of $275 raw. That is nuts. So yeah, go for Super Mario homages. We will be seeing a slew of them. The Spectacular Spider-Man Annual #4 from 1984. We learn the identity of the woman under the armor in Iron Cat. It's a blast from the past in the form of Tamara Blake. Yay, everybody knows her. We tracked 25 copies that were sold. High sale of $51 for the raw. It had a fair market value of around half that at $25. Not bad for a book that routinely sold around for well under $5 a month ago. At rank 2, we have Hercules #1 from 1982. Spoilerific from Thor, I'm guessing. We tracked 33 additional copies sold for this with a high sale of $450 for a CGC 9.8 to go with the raw sales that are routinely hitting $30, bringing its fair market value up to $19. And at number one, 8 Billion Genies, the one that I understand, but Eric does not. That why it's so great. 78 copies, more than last week's, which sold 70. So 78 more copies sold. We have a high sale of $26 for a raw, with a raw fair market value pretty close to that at $24. I have no idea how they come up with fair market value versus raw. It makes no sense to me, but whatever. Eric, take it away.
All right, starting number 11. You're the Villain, Hell Arisen number 3. This is that first appearance of Punchline. She's back spearheading a new series called Punchline, the Gotham Gang. This is going to be launching sometime in October, November, and the news quickly caused her first appearance to pick back up in value. Looks like 17 copies were sold, a 7-day trend of 105% with a high sale of $150 for CGC 9.8. Number 12, one of my favorite covers from kind of the early to mid 2010s. Thor number 1, the first cover appearance of Jane Foster, continues to cling to on the runner-up list post her appearance in Thor: Love and Thunder. 24 copies sold with a high sale of $275 for CGC 9.8 and a raw fair market value of 69 bones. Number 13, coming out just this past week, Strange Academy 18, Ryan Stegman character Spotlight. Howie Scott, the friendly lycanthrope, had several cameos in Strange Academy for his first full appearance in Strange Academy 16. However, this variant is the first cover appearance of Howie. 32 copies sold, high sale of $15 for a raw. Number 14, something I haven't heard of in quite a long time, which is exciting. Paper Girls number 1. Last week, the trailer for the Amazon series debuted to a highly positive reception. It's been some time since any news debuted for the series. However, the positive response has rekindled interest in the first issue of Brian K. Vaughan's coming-of-age time-traveling phenomenon. 23 copies sold with a high sale of $125 for CGC 9.8. Was this the one that Kyle had bought the signed copy from Midtown?
I think so, yeah. He's got a
Yeah.
stack of these. He was a big fan.
Yeah. Number 15, Strange Tales 138 from just a couple years ago, 1965. As we're being mindful of spoilers, we can only mention that this book has made the list due to the release of Thor, Love and Thunder. That is all. 7-day trend of 118%, high sale of $259 for CGC 7.0. Next up, number 16, Black Panther. Number 3, second print. While the first print of this issue has made it to the top 10, the second print is not too far off. Tosin Mania is here, and collectors are grabbing any and all issues related to his first appearance. 18 copies sold, high sale of $100 for 9.8. Iron Cat number 1, Scan 1 in 50. This fantastic Scan cover is still a highly desirable book. While it dropped from the top 10, it's still clawing its way through our runner-up. 15 copies sold with a sale of $100 for a raw copy. Next up is Marvel Age Annual number 1 from 1985. Yes, it's true. This issue is the first appearance of the most well-known and beloved Marvel hero of all time, the Phone Ranger.
Huh.
It's an obscure character, but it's been sought after spec after a few set photos from Loki Season 2 were leaked on Twitter. So we have tracked 17 copies sold with a high sale of $28.60 for a raw copy. That's very precise, $28.60.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Number 19 coming in, it was X-Men number 4 from 92. Omega Red has been highly popular and a running joke character that fans have desired to see in the MCU. For the past couple of weeks, Kevin Feige has been teasing that Phase 4 will reveal its next big saga soon. Many fans believe it will be about Secret Wars, X-Men, or Kang's plans. There's a lot of hope that'll be a live-action version of Omega Red. 14 copies sold, high sale of $166.50 for a CGC 9.8. And rounding out our list, what
do you think? What are you voting for? The next big MCU push. I think Secret Wars would be cool with me.
That's kind of where I've been thinking it's going to be a Secret Wars.
Yeah, if they can pull it off, that'd be pretty epic. That makes sense.
Yeah. Number 20, Joker number 15, Gilliam March 1 in 25. Debuting in Joker number 2, Bane's daughter Vengeance was a well-received character. Additionally, this feature delivers a finale of Tynan's run on the 15-issue Joker series. The 1 in 25 ratio is a beautiful piece of art by the highly talented Gilliam March. 21 copies sold, high sale $45 for a raw copy.
It's a nice cover, and Gillen March is pretty awesome. So
He's a very good artist.
I didn't realize that was the last Joker. I have to read that one soon.
All right, that rounds out our top 20.
Yeah, let's head over to our friends at Lunar to begin our sneak peek at next week by taking a look at some of the items coming out on the 19th for DC's crazy schedule. See what kind of stuff they are doing. We've got Artemis Wanted #1, a Vita Ayala book with Skylar Partridge on art, and a Matteo Scalera cover. Something about something to do with Amazons and Wonder Woman. So I don't read all this, so I have no idea who that is. I was excited for a second.
Batman Superman World's Finest #5 coming out.
Yeah, I like that Matina. That's pretty nice. All the Batman the Night covers kind of look the same.
They do. They have the similar kind of vibe.
Yeah.
We've got Black Adam 2 coming out. Really cool Brandon Peterson C cover.
Yeah. That Rafael Sarmento's not too bad either.
It's a good one too.
Catwoman, you can see that Jenny Frison a mile away.
You betcha.
Gorgeous. How's Dark Crisis doing? Anybody care?
Our typical DC folks that are in for DC events are grabbing it, but not really significant sales off the shelf.
I've not been wild to this point, but I mean it's early days, but I have not been wild by it. We're starting DC versus Vampires All Out War. That's first issue with some great covers. That Kale new card stock looks spooky, scary.
Yep. Matthew Rosenberg writing.
Did you enjoy Fables when it was first out?
I did enjoy some of it, yeah.
Have you got a chance to check out the new issues
I have
yet?
not. I do find it interesting that this is number 153 of 162.
Yeah. It's an interesting maxi series.
Yeah, or we just say it's 153 and go from there.
I think they want you to know that there's only a few more of these, so pick them up.
There's an end in sight. We promise.
Which sometimes that's nice.
Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes #4 cover B. Travis Moore cardstock is pretty sweet looking.
It is. Nightwing with some great covers as usual. Jamal Campbell and the Bruno Redondo. I like that. I like his style.
You got style, kid.
Yeah. She Bites. I thought that was already out, but maybe not. Vampire in the Body of a 9-year-old. I think that's been done before, but might be good.
That's my life story.
Yeah. And that's kind of it from Lunar. Let's head on over to our folks at Diamond and look at what Image has to offer. Bloodstained Teeth, I've enjoyed quite a bit. The first couple of issues of that so far have been really good. Do a Powerbomb, the first issue was good. I enjoyed that. Wrestling. I'm not a wrestling fan, but it kept me engaged. I am an uber fan of Ice Cream Man, and it's on its 31st issue with a couple of cool covers.
Yeah, that is definitely a series that has found its audience.
Yep, I'm one of them. So Prophet's back?
Yep. with a
Whose
lot
book
of
was that?
covers.
Whose book is that? Liefeld?
Rob Liefeld.
Okay, that's why I don't know it. Rogues Gallery gets a first issue. This is Hannah Rose May and Declan Shalvey doing just the covers. Yeah,
Just
this
the
looks
A
pretty
cover.
good.
Tula Lote looks like doing the B cover.
I think this was Kyle's FOC pick a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Really hate how short the FOC cycle is now. It really drives me nuts.
I'll see what I can do. I'll put in a word.
When you're talking to him about pricing of
Right.
independently orderable books and no facsimiles over
And
$4.99,
facsimiles or yeah, right. I'll make
$3.99.
sure that that's
Put
all
that on the
laid out for
list.
them.
I got a
Yeah.
list of grievances a mile long. I'll email you. Might have to be a zip file. Skybound presents After School. This first one was fun. I think this is an anthology, so this will be a different book or different story and different characters and stuff. But the first one was really good. I was impressed. Should have known. The Skybound X25. This is their 25th anniversary issue. Is that the deal? This is
Yeah.
4 new upcoming. This already came out, right? Because no, there's an Image 30th anthology,
Image 30 came out, yes.
and so
And then
this the
this is
first
Skybound X number 25.
this is the first one of those, right? There's not
No,
been
it's the
enough. There's not,
25th issue.
no, but it's not really.
There've been other Skybound X's that have come out, but not 25.
There haven't been 25.
They're not 24, I guess, but there have
Yeah.
been other.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. There have, but I don't think there have been that many.
You know what? Number shenanigans, you're off the list. Add it to the grievance pile.
Ah. Yep. Yep. There you go. Some great Walking Dead covers. Love the Sea by Rivera. That's the governor's daughter, right? Oh, that's
Sure is.
great. That's great. Head down into Boom. Our boy Brian Azzarello finishing up Faithless 3, the 6 of 6.
I absolutely have to point out Grimm
Yes.
continues to sell just gangbusters for us.
It's really good,
Some
too.
yeah, some cool covers. I love the Frizzen has a very David Bowie vibe going.
Yes, exactly. I'm not sure who the Lee is on the FOC variant. Inhyuk does some good stuff,
Yep,
too.
and Lee, very classy.
But yeah, this is a story of just the plot is that there's multiple Grim Reapers, and
Right.
she's one of them, and she's not that great at it, but it's really good. First couple of issues have been really good, anyway.
Let's see what else we got here.
Down in Dark Horse, we're looking at Lonesome Hunters, Tyler Crook.
We got the Dark Spaces Wildfire number one's a Scott Snyder book.
Oh, which one is?
Dark Spaces Wildfire number one.
What pub?
Top of the list.
What publisher?
IDW.
Okay, I was in Dark Horse. Sorry. Dark Spaces Wildfire number 1. That's Scott Snyder and who? Hayden Sherman. All right. Inmate firefighting program. Inmate women firefighters. All right. I'm in. I'll check that out. That's the only thing that IDW is putting out for the week.
They got some Gojira, Rocketeer, Star Trek, TNT, Transformers. Kind of
Yeah,
the standard licensing fare.
yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't expand the list.
Darn plus button.
Boy, so yeah, you're right. It's one original IP and licensed properties.
License the rest of the way.
Wow. Well, Usagi, I guess. Is it? Done in Marvel. We're getting an Alien annual.
Axe Judgment Day 1.
People excited about that up there?
There's decent pre-orders for it. We'll see
Okay.
how it goes off the shelf. That's going to be the big question.
Gotcha.
Are people up for a big Marvel event, or are they not so much?
Fortnites continue to do well, I think.
Gosh, yes.
They doing well for you?
Oh yeah, we have all sorts of moms calling, wanting to get the codes for their kids. It's actually quite entertaining. I don't know. He just wants some code. What? I don't know what book it is, but he said that you would have it. That's the most common discussion we have.
It happened with the DC versions too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Batman Fortnite. And the
Yeah.
best part is they come in and you're like, "Is there anything else we can help you with?" "No, I just need to get this and get out of here." "Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping. Shop local."
Rip that page. They rip that page out and toss it in the trash on the way out the door.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happens.
That's sad. But maybe, just maybe, there's a percentage of kids that come into this comic world because of it. Who knows?
Yeah, boy, Drew, that sounds like a real common occurrence. Peel a kid off a screen to read a book.
Maybe
You ever
not.
thought of a gig in marketing?
That's our hope. That's always been our hope that they watch this hit TV show and drives them to the comic. They watch the movie, it drives them to the comic. They play the video game, it drives them to the comic. That's the hope.
It's good to have hope.
Yeah. We get to
Speaking of
finish up.
hope, I hope you're enjoying Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood.
I'm not. I don't like it very much. It feels
That's a
like
shame.
inventory stories to me. Like, not really great, well curated midnight stories. So far. So far. I think the second one was a little better than the first.
Well, hopefully the trend continues because this is number 3.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah. We're going to relaunch Shang-Chi again. I don't know.
10 rings.
I don't know who asked for that, but that art germ's
Well,
freaking amazing. So
I was going to say, it doesn't matter who asked for it. They got an art German that's worth it.
it's a beautiful art germ.
He might have a future.
Yeah, I wonder if he's. I wonder if he'll ever have the time to do interiors.
Based on what he gets paid for covers, I wouldn't count on it.
Right? Why would he? Right?
Right?
We get a little Anakin Christopher action figure variant for Star Wars 25. That's fun. Kyle has warmed up to these Sprouse Choose Your Destiny variants for Star Wars books.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about them yet.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool, but they seem a little disingenuous because at first I was like, "Oh, choose your own adventure." Kind of
Yeah.
like, no, it's the yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Not
right.
quite.
Destiny, Star Wars, got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's all laugh at the comic seller made an improper assumption.
Venom
Ooh,
still
that's kind
hot.
of cool. The Darth Vader 25 Choose Your Destiny is Darth Crawl. That's a pretty cool one. That's a cool one.
And what's her face? Who's that? Oh, it's this. Yeah, Ashoka.
That's Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna be a hot one.
That should,
All right. That's mine. That's my pick. Lock it.
the Choose Your Destiny, Ahsoka.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The Clone Wars Sprouse, Lucasfilm, whatever that has her on it, you got it. It's Ahsoka Tano. My wife is a crazy Ahsoka Tano fan. I There's more clothing in this house with Ahsoka Tano than anything
Really?
else. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
She has an entire bookshelf dedicated to busts, figures, statues, action figures, stuffed animals, stuffed creatures, you name it.
So I'm guessing
It's all Ahsoka Tano.
she watched the animated series
Oh, very much.
before met you or after?
Both.
Oh, wow,
Yes,
cool,
all of the above. And yes, Venom still does very well for us.
nice. We finally get the Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids #1,
Ooh, good.
taking Kyle's youth and smashing it together. Were you too young for Mad Balls and Garbage Pail Kids?
It went right before me.
Yeah.
What else we got? Anything exciting?
See if any of the small publishers have anything.
Armor Clads from Valiant.
Ghost Ship, is that a manga publisher?
Yes.
If I did not have a backlog of books, I think I would love manga. I think I would.
There's some really, really great stuff.
Every time I
I
try it, I enjoy them. Every time I try
Yep.
one, I enjoy them. And just say in the same vein as European comics. Like every time I grab a European comic to try it, I love it. And I'm like, I should read more of these. But then I have like, I'd have to stop reading Big Took books completely.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I can't quit them. Blink, #1 is Oni Press. Oh, poor Oni. Not doing well right now. We might not get an issue 2 of Blink Blink. This is
Yeah.
Christopher Sabella and Hayden Sherman doing this book. What is he? He's website techie. It's a techie thing. I can go with that. A little sci-fi stuff. Looks not too bad.
Yeah, a couple other Fall Men #1, Cat Girl #1. Couple of fun back half #1s coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Florida Man #1.
Life Zero, I've enjoyed that. It's been good. Little Red Ronin #1. Source Point.
Locust Ballad of Men. Kind of revisiting that Locust world.
Okay. Didn't realize that.
A decent amount of back half stuff coming out
Yeah.
this
Finally.
week, which is kind of nice to see.
Yeah,
A little
sometimes
bit
it's
of
pretty thin.
yes,
Zenescope
it is.
giving us Robin Hood, Children of Dr. Moreau with some creepy covers. There she bites again.
Yeah, that cover D.
Yeah,
So,
that's the one I was drawn to.
yeah,
And Whiteout is Greg Rucka book that they're reissuing 25 years later, which is kind of cool, but it's $10.
yeah. This is. I think this is just #1. There's. I have the trade of it, and it's very good.
Well, it's Greg Rucka and Steve Lieber. I mean,
Right.
that's pretty good pedigree right there, right?
I cannot refute that.
Yeah. So we've got your choice, which we already heard.
Yep.
The Star Wars Han Solo Chewbacca #4 Sprouse Choose Your Destiny variant
Correct.
with Ahsoka on the cover.
Yep.
Mine, I've gone back and forth on a couple of #1s, and then I came back to Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, the Art Germ
Art Germ.
variant,
That's a
which is
good one.
just beautiful. I can't take my eyes off of it, so it's got to be that one.
It is a great cover.
Yeah. So, for the good of the order before we let you go?
No,
Well,
I
for
think
a week or two.
yeah, we'll give it a couple weeks, let it cool down a bit. Without Kyle being here, we had to make sure that we hit the 2 hour mark. That's always our goal because you guys pay by the hour, so it's fantastic.
We do. Your invoice is in the mail, I think. So I'll take care of that. I'll have my people get with your people.
Awesome.
So thank you again for filling in, and I appreciate it very much. If you have any questions for Eric, he'll be back in a couple of weeks. So feel free to reach out and let us know. Otherwise, we want to thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This episode has been with Eric and Drew. So tune in next time.